I went to a card show yesterday and it wasn't what I was expecting. And I wanted to talk about that today because in previous card shows, I've gone there with a very specific purpose. Like I've tried to follow other people's guidance so that I can be strict with what I do and don't buy, and be stricter with what I'm trying to do and not get caught up in hype or FOMO with particular cards, because it's a very easy, when the cards and you're holding the slab or holding the card, it's very easy to fall into that you're caught in the moment thing and you spend more than you maybe want to. So I've gone into other card shows with like, right, if I see this, I'm going to go and I want to pick up these items. Now, yesterday I didn't have much time. It was a local card show. And so I'm in the UK, for those of you that are new to watching the channel. And for those of you that have been following for some time, thank you for all the likes and subscribe. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Great to have you on board. I wanted to do a little bit of a reflection on yesterday's card show because it really wasn't what I was expecting. And it follows on from my previous videos and what we've been discussing around, we're trying to navigate the One Piece dip in interest at the moment. And I think, as in my last video, I was saying it's a bit of a lie, because I think there's other things going on and other factors at play, and maybe Pokemon's just a bit more hypey at the moment because of new sets and the anniversary and all of that stuff. But what's interesting is I went to this same local card show in the UK exactly a year ago. I went to the same show to collect One Piece. And collecting then versus collecting now is very, very different. And what's interesting is there are a lot more cards last year at last year's show for One Piece. And what I mean, and it's, let me be specific about what there was at yesterday's show, which you wouldn't have thought. So yesterday I went to the show with the view in mind that I will just go and see what's there. I've got some budget, and actually what I was thinking was I'll pick up a manga. Now, I didn't have a particular budget in mind. It was a little bit of an open budget, but maybe let's see what I can pick up either raw and see if I can grade something, because maybe now is a great opportunity to pick up a raw card, a raw manga. And when I went to the show last year, there was, I don't know, it's a fairly small show. I don't know how many tables there are, but it was about 10%, 20% of the show maximum was One Piece. The rest was Pokemon. Actually, that's an interesting point. Last year, it was 20% One Piece and 80% Pokemon. This year, it was, again, very similar, 80% Pokemon, 20% One Piece. But interestingly, last year, it was like One Piece vendors only and then Pokemon vendors only. This year, you're seeing a lot more split, and I think it's as other TCGs are competing. So I saw lots of Gundam. I saw, apologies if I'm butchering the name of that. I'm not that familiar with it. I saw some Union Arena. I saw some of the League of Legends. Riftbound, is it? I saw quite a lot of Magic. I think there's a new set. Is it like the Ninja Turtle set? That seems to be quite popular yesterday. There was loads more different product, which I think is actually really cool. I think it's really healthy, and just for the TCG as a whole, and I have to say, this year the show was quite busy a year ago, but this year it was even busier, just for like people collecting lots of different things. And I saw lots of people that were still at the One Piece, talking to One Piece vendors that didn't seem that familiar with One Piece. So there's clearly new people still getting into One Piece. But anyway, the purpose of this chat is I went there yesterday and I thought, I'm going to try and get myself a raw manga because we're in this dip. There's going to be opportunities. And last year when I was going, there were One Piece vendors that had a whole row of mangas. Like, you know, when you see the glass tables, they would have the top panel, they'd have Luffy, they had Shanks, they had the Nami, they had whatever it was. They had quite a lot of different laws. There would be both of the different law mangas. You know, there was probably 15 mangas at least on some of the bigger One Piece sellers, and some, even the smaller ones, had 2 or 3 mangas each. So I was pretty confident going there in this dip that I was going to go there and get myself a really good manga. And I was kind of hoping I could pick up the EBO2, the Gear 2 Luffy manga at this card show. Anyway, to my surprise, I'm walking around, as I said, lots of split desks, if you like, or split vending, if you like, with lots of different sets, not just Pokemon, not just One Piece, but lots of different TCGs. And I'm looking around, I'm sticking my head around, and it's super busy, and I'm looking, can't find a manga. First one. Second guy I go to, no manga. Third guy I go to, no mangas. Fourth, fifth, sixth. I think there were probably about 8 to 10 tables vending. It was a manga-less show. Now, I didn't have the VIP, but I got there 10 minutes after the opening of the normal ticket. So I was thinking, did all these mangas go in the first 1 hour of people that paid triple the price for a VIP ticket? Like, I can't imagine that's happened. And that brought me on to thinking, like, there's no mangas. Why are there no mangas at the card show? And there was a few vendors there, and it was very different to like a few months ago when I was going to a couple of shows. But there was a few guys there that had some fairly big cards still in the thousands. And I saw a really cool card actually, the Luffy Treasure Cup card. The guy wanted $2,000 for it. I think he even paid 2.5 for it, and he was trying to get out of it, and it was kind of tempting. But last sold was like £1,600, like a couple of thousand US dollars, and the sales were only from the US, so it's quite hard to comp. But I was thinking, this is a manga-less show. So I was talking to a couple of guys that I've bought quite a few cards from at last year and at other shows and over the last, 18 months or so. And I was talking to these guys, and I said to one of the guys that I get on really well with, I said to him, like, and I talked to him on Instagram and stuff like that, he's a vendor. I said, have you got any mangas? He said, no, I still haven't got any mangas. And I'm thinking, how would this dip if you got no mangas? And the conclusion I'm getting to is that these cards now, whether it's, particularly mangas, they're now ending up in the hands of the collector. I.e., I was expecting a flood of supply. Maybe not that there would be more One Piece vendors because we know it's on a dip, but actually the ones that are One Piece vendors and that have been vending for some time, these guys that are super well connected would have lots of different mangas. I could just go in and just pick the manga I wanted up. No supply. Now that suggests to me a very healthy market. If you saw double the mangas that were there last year, when the market wasn't hot last year, not like it is now, March in 2025 compared to March 2026, and yet we're in this massive dip of interest right now, and prices are tumbling, or they were tumbling, and yet there's no mangas at a card show, a local card show, not one. I said to the guys, have you been selling mangas like before I've turned up? I've turned up like straight away on, at 11 o'clock. The gates open for VIPs at 10. And they said, no, I haven't got any mangas. And interestingly, I picked up this, I only picked up one card yesterday because as you guys know, I'm collecting, sorry, the lighting's not great. I picked this event manga up, and I was talking to one of the guys about it. I'm going to send that off for grading. Got a really good price on it, was really happy with it. And he said to me, in the 10 minutes that really people have been coming over, because the VIP stuff, people are mostly looking at the Pokemon stuff. He said in the 10 minutes when the One Piece collectors have come in, he goes, I've got one event manga left, that Divine Departure that you're picking up. He's like, I had the Zoro one, the Demon Nine Swords, the one I just picked up. I had a Buggy, I had a Gear 2, they've all gone in 10 minutes. All the event mangas are gone. He's like, and he goes, I've been talking like in my little community, and he's like, Event mangas they're going really quickly now, really, really quickly. So it kind of got me to the conclusion of the One Piece market is still super healthy, despite now there was a lot of supplies of just like random stuff. Like there was cards to buy, don't get me wrong. There was plenty of vendors, One Piece vendors that had a full table of stuff, but it was just, yeah, you could get into SPs. There was still, at market prices, you know what the SPs have done, right? There's been a drop, but you could get into some of those cards. So there were some SPs, but there wasn't you weren't seeing stuff like this. Like there wasn't, there weren't these kind of SPs. They were I'll tell you what you could get. You could get, SPs like the Kid, which I love this card because I pulled it. But, oops, sorry. I love this card because I pulled it, right? But, I mean, this isn't the most popular SP, let's be honest. I just love it because I pulled it. But, Ace, SPs like this. There was none of these. These kind of SPs are now, guess what? Guess where they are? They're not card shows. They're in the hands of collectors now. People that are going to hold these forever or a long time. So the supply is still not there for these really desirable cards. So when you're collecting, try and think about what you're collecting. Because look, whether you like it or not, there are a lot of Luffy cards out there now. There's even quite a lot of Luffy mangas, like different ones, I mean. There's so many Luffy cards. There's quite a lot of Boa cards now. I'm even, there were some Nami cards, there were some cool Chinese and some, I know a lot of you are collecting Chinese now and Korean and some other languages as well as Japanese. There was quite a few cool Nami cards you could pick up for 2025, but I just didn't know enough about them that I wanted to get into them. They had a few for Asia ones that were quite cool. But the reality is, there was plenty of kind of bulk, but there was zero mangas and there was zero really desirable SPs. Plenty of other stuff that you could buy. And what was interesting was the vendors were all buying. All of them were buying. All of them were pushing me to trade. And I deliberately took nothing with me. I took nothing with me for the first time to the show. Because I've got my little cheap box that I bought, to go to card shows with. Just to carry my slabs, just in case of something really cool. I didn't take it because now, for me, like I've been saying on other videos, it's not a great time to sell your cards. So I wanted to think about I wanted to say the market is still clearly healthy. Clearly, these mangas are in the hands of collectors now. Yes, you can go online, go on eBay. I've been looking for, what was the card I was looking for as a really good example? Yes, I've kind of made a bit of a decision. I need to consolidate slightly at some point because I'm just buying too many cards. I've got a full binder there. I like to display stuff. I've even got a drawer full of cards as well that are kind of up for trading. But I've decided I might try and collect more of the silver SPs because I've got the silver buggy in the 10, which I've shown you on other videos, but for you guys that are new, and this is my silver buggy, which I just think is absolutely phenomenal. And I've decided, I'm going to collect more of the silver SPs. Obviously the Luffy right now, probably forever, is way out of my budget at the moment. But let me look at the Shanks, let me look at the Blackbeard. Now in the UK, you can't get them. There's one graded Blackbeard on the market, which I think is a bit expensive still, although I am seriously considering it, in English. That's the other thing, I'm going to try and collect them in English because I've got the buggy in English. I love the Japanese ones. There are 0 Shanks, silver Shanks for sale in English in the UK, 0. There are not many even globally. Yes, you can buy Japanese from Japan. Yes, I could pick up a raw one in Japanese, a silver Shanks. which I might end up doing because I want the silver card. I might end up just collecting it in Japanese because, to be honest, silver shanks in Japanese, the price right now is about £350, which is about 450, 500 US. Seems like quite a good deal. But there is not one copy of the English version in the UK for sale on eBay or Vinted or Marketplace. So these really desirable cards are in the hands of collectors. So I just thought it was really interesting. I think the market's really healthy. I think it's, I think that's undeniable. If you go to one of these shows, and look, I go to these shows fairly regularly. For anyone that goes to card shows regularly, that talks to vendors, talks to people that sell and trade and collect and play the game, One Piece is super healthy. The live action, I'll probably post this on Tuesday, so the live action will be out today. I'll be watching it. Let me know if you guys are going to watch the live action series 2. I'm absolutely pumped about it. For those of you that are in the UK, a couple of people asked me like how to watch the anime. It's actually on BBC iPlayer. I appreciate in the US it's different. There'll be something else. So please, for UK viewers, UK audience, you can watch it on BBC iPlayer. It's on there. But yeah, the live action is obviously Netflix is out. Probably when I post this. So yeah, looking forward to it. Let me know if you're watching it, and thanks so much for following along. But yeah, just wanted to say, what do you guys think? Have you guys been to some shows recently? Did you find what you're looking for? I did not see a lot of what I wanted. The desirable stuff was, yeah, and you have to question, like, the people that are flipping stuff. Has the flip already happened now? Is it now in the hands of collectors? Because the flippers, there's not a lot. I mean, yeah, if you want to overpay for a Bubble Zorro, you could pick that up. People wanted £1,800 for it yesterday, even though online, literally, you can go and buy it for 900 graded. Half the price. I mean, some of the prices on the vending yesterday was questionable. But anyway, look, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.